never smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some disease. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome, guys. Miss Liz in the house. That's right. Miss Liz is here. I know you guys have been looking for me all day. There is no afternoon shows this week at all. They are all evening shows. So stay tuned for 7 p.m. shows. Tonight we are starting a little later because life happens. And that's what happens on Tea Time. It is live shows. So we try to do the best we can to work with all the guests and all that good stuff. So before we get started, we're going to get everybody over to Miss Liz's YouTube channel, Spotify, TikTok, Facebook, all of those good platforms. You guys know how Miss Liz works. And tonight I have the incredible Ciara Lewis in the house, and we're going to be talking about Fierce and Fearless magazine. And we're going to get some of her work out there, and also some work that maybe you guys may be able to be join her on a few projects. So let's get started with the disclaimer and then an intro, and let's get Ciara in here and let's spill some tea. And tonight's tea is tolerance, engagement, encouragement, and applying acceptance. That is Ciara's tea. So we are serving that tea tonight. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicated to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I, Miss Liz, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please, during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own good judgment when considering any action or decision that relates to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of this discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email, bookingmissliz@gmail.com, or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Now let me give you a little bit about tonight. Welcome everyone to another Tea Time with me, where we pour real stories, real truth, and real transformation. Today I'm honored to welcome a powerful woman whose journey is rooted in courage, resilience, and unapologetic purpose. Ciara Lewis, publisher of Fierce and Fearless Entrepreneur magazine. Ciara's story takes her from surviving deep trauma to rising as a visionary leader who amplifies women's voices across the globe. She teaches us that being fierce isn't just an attitude, it's a reclaiming of self. And being fearless isn't about never being afraid, it's about rising anyway. So grab your cup, breathe deeply, and join me in this bold and beautiful conversation with Ciara Lewis, a woman who embodies strength, truth, and unstoppable transformation. Let me get Ciara in here and let's spill some tea together. Welcome, Ciara.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you here. I'm going to start off how I start off all my tea times. Who was Ciara as a little girl and who is Ciara now?
Let's see. As a little girl, I was all over the place. I loved climbing trees, playing with worms. I was definitely all about a journey, reading books and writing. And Ciara as an adult is somebody who is just ready to help the world, wants to do whatever she can. I definitely am one for putting my hands in 15 different fires at one time, just because I like to make magic work. So I am still all over the place as an adult, but I have more of a mission and a passion of what I want for life and where I'm going.
Well, I really like the words that you gave me for your tea, because your tea tells me a lot about you as well. And when I did my homework on you, Miss
Yes.
Ciara, I found a lot of stuff, and I was like, aha, now I understand why she gave me these words. So we'll get into your tea right away, and then we're going to get into some questions that were sent in for you that I can ask you tonight. Your tea that you gave me was tolerance, engagement, encouragement, and applying acceptance. Why did you give me those words?
I think through my journey as a child to where I am now, those are all the words that I have experienced from that time. Tolerance being the main thing. I think that it's something that I've had to build. And I think that as we grow, our tolerance level, it grows as well, right? So I know when I was younger, I've always been impatient. So that's something else that I've worked on as an adult now. But I think that also kind of comes along with tolerance too. And so as I've gotten older, I've had to realize that one, I can only control myself, and I can only be within myself. I cannot control any or everybody else around me. And I can't be in their head or in their space. I can't truly understand the next person. I can try, but I can't really understand the next person. And so the more I have learned that, the easier it has been for me to not only be able to deal with people, but to be able to deal with myself, be able to deal with situations. And again, kind of have that step back moment to where I can have and understand the tolerance that is needed for that space and have the patience as well. So the tolerance is definitely one of my biggest categories, I guess you would say, one of my biggest characteristics that I would, say that has grown with me from the time of being younger till now.
Well, and overcoming the things that you have, Ciara, I think impatience is a good thing for you. You know, I'm a survivor as well of domestic violence, and I think being impatient and just trying to figure out yourself, you're
Yes.
always on eggshells, right? So you get impatient with this situation. So I think that growing that tolerance, once we leave those situations, the tolerance finds us a little bit better.
Yes, I agree with that.
So your next word was engagement and encouragement.
Yeah, so same thing with that. When I was younger, I've always been a shy person. I'm still a little bit shy, but growing up, as I grew, I have learned to become more engaged with people, and have become more not encouraged myself, but have also found ways to encourage other people, which again is part of the reason I started the Fierce and Fearless magazine, is to help encourage and elevate other women entrepreneurs in their space and in their life in general, but also to just, have a lasting impact. Let women know that they're seen, they're bold, they're beautiful, and they can belong just as well as anybody else. So definitely, the encouragement, that was a big thing for me, I think, for sure. Especially because, like you said, when you're in an abuse situation, I think it really kind of hinders that as well.
Well, you have to keep encouraging yourself to keep fighting, right?
Yes.
Unless you live it, you do not understand it. And my listeners get that. And I say that all the time. Unless we live it, don't speak on it. But when you live it, you understand it. And the person who's listening, who has gone through it, understands as well. And I have a lot of listeners here that have gone through, and they are survivors. So it's nice to have you on this platform and get that voice out there, because we need to have these voices. And I love the name of your magazine, like Fierce and Fearless goes together, right? It's the double F, right? We're coming, like it's almost like that rubbing engine of a car. We just make the double F sound of the Phoenix. And I want to get into the Phoenix a little later in the show, because I do know that you are doing something with the Phoenix. So I want to bring that up for any of the listeners out there that may be interested. Okay. And your A was applying acceptance.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Again, we have to apply ourselves, right? We have to apply what we learn. We have to apply what we mess up. So our mistakes. So yeah, apply. And once we apply, then I guess, kind of, for me, I like to sit back and see what was the before and what was the after, and like, how did I get to where I am? And what can I do better to keep applying that to, the continued growth in my life and in my business and in my relationships. Um, I think that's truly important, because I think a lot of times we don't understand the true meaning of apply. I think a lot of times we don't apply lessons, or, like I said, just mistakes in general. And so when we finally learn to do that, I think it not only makes us a better person, but it makes us better at what we do, how we interact, how we show up. And I think that's what done it for me when I created Fierce and Fearless magazine. Was it gave me a whole new perspective on how I could show up, not just for myself, but show up for other women as well, and apply the things that I have learned along my way, including my mistakes, to help others not do that.
Well, we had a question that just came in, and it says, "You describe your TS tolerance, encouragement, and acceptance. How do these qualities show up in your leadership and the culture you're creating through your magazine?"
So I love that question. So again, with tolerance, we have to understand that we're dealing with all kinds of different walks of life, and each walk of life has their own story, right? We can't. I think as a society, we have been. I don't want to say brainwashed, but we've been taught to judge people. We've been taught what's not supposed to look this way and what's supposed to look that way, and that's not always true. We've been taught that dark is ugly. That's not true. And light is beautiful. That's not always true either.
Gotta
And
reverse it.
yes, yes. Um, and so I think, again, once we learn how to handle tolerance and how to truly understand and apply it, it allows us, again, to be better for not just ourselves, but for the other people that we're showing up for and that we're working with. And that's kind of what I want to create with this platform. As far as engagement and encouragement, same thing. I want to make sure I'm engaging and encouraging every female that participates in my magazine, any female that's outside of my magazine. I have probably spoken to at least every single female via phone that has been in this magazine, and we've had over almost 100 women in the magazine. So I can tell you that I love being hands-on with what I do. And I think encouraging and engaging with your clients is one of the biggest things you can do when you run a business. As far as acceptance, um, yeah, if we have to learn to accept ourselves, right? So that's one of the biggest things that I learned, especially after my abuse situation. And once I was able to accept myself again, it allowed me to be able to accept so many people in a different way than I was before. It allowed me to see through a different lens. And once we kind of put all three of those together, and we understand that no one's ever going to be just like us, no one's ever going to think just like us, no one's going to show up just like us, and we kind of learn how to deal with that a little bit, it helps us, again, to show up differently and to help people in a way that it's better for them, it's better for you, and not in a way to where it's negative on either side or somebody's taking more of an impact. That's what I've learned so far about where I'm at with my business, life, my relationships. And those are the important things, I think, to me, and as far as starting Fierce and Fearless magazine.
So they all go one in one, right?
Yes.
Life and work goes one in one. You have to put the fear and the fearless in both
Yes.
in order for it to work. We have a question that came in. It says, "Fierce and Fearless Entrepreneur Magazine is bold and unapologetic. What moment in your life sparks the courage to build the platform and share your truth publicly?"
I think just from growing up alone, I have always seen and paid attention how women are treated. And I don't mean to get on the whole racial thing here, but especially women of my color. And so, I grew up in a household of mostly women. I mean, yes, I had four uncles, but mostly women. And just watching how they carried themselves throughout the community and just in general has shaped me into who I am to this day. And I can't ever thank them enough. My grandma actually passed away the year of COVID. she was a really big part of who I've become today. She was like my second mom. But, I just don't think that we're valued enough as women. I don't think that we're seen enough as women. And then, of course, when I went through my domestic violence situation, that was when I'd had enough. That was when I said, enough is enough. Something has to be done. We have got to try the best we can to try to help other women, or at least let them know they're seen, they're heard, they're valuable. And so I kept thinking, what can I do to show up to be that for somebody else? And so I thought, why not create a magazine? Because I think a lot of people struggle with communication, right? I think a lot of people struggle with emotions and how to get those out. And writing is what saved my life. When I wrote my book, The Anchor Holds, all those poems, that's what done it for me. If I wasn't able to do that, and if I wouldn't have put the pen to the paper, I truly don't know if I would have made it. So yeah, the magazine is not just a magazine. It's a platform to be you, be free, remember who you are, be seen, express yourself, and be loved, be encouraged. We're here. That's exactly what we're here to do, and so that's why I created that.
No, I think a magazine also gives that light, right? The light of the into the shadow of the darkness. Like you mentioned, like they say dark is bad, and I like using heavy words because heavy words are actually strong words.
Yes.
Broken, that's a strong word.
Yes.
Pieces, that's a strong word. If you live it, you understand what we mean by these words being strong. Dark, being strong. It was dark a lot, but we found that light. So what got you to get into the light, Ciara? What broke that camel's back that got you that push to go?
I wasn't ready to lay down. I knew that there was more for me. I knew I had a purpose. I had a daughter as well. My daughter was very young when I was abused, and I knew that couldn't be a life for her. I didn't want that for her. I didn't want it for myself. And I knew that if I didn't stand up for me, I wasn't standing up for her. And not only just for her, but for my family in general. I'm the oldest out of all the grandkids. And so I take that very serious because, to me, they're all my babies. And even though we may be closer to the same age, like I know they look up to me, and I have tried so hard to be there for each and every one of them in any way that I can. But yeah, the dark and all that, it's definitely a thing. And a lot of people, like you said, don't understand it unless they've been there. So yeah, being able to find the light was, I'm not going to say it wasn't hard for me, but again, for me, I knew that I wasn't ready to lay down. I knew that I wasn't ready to give up. And so I knew I had no choice but to get up and try again. And so that's exactly what I did, was I just rose again and kept moving.
Well, and being the oldest, right? That leader, that example, right? You
Yes.
have all of these other ones watching. If you tolerate it, then they know they have to tolerate it, and the pattern just keeps going, right? The cycle never gets broken.
No.
And it's not easy being that cycle breaker
No.
at all. We just had a question. You survived both domestic violence and sexual abuse, transforming pain into purpose. How did your healing become the foundation for your leadership?
Um, Again, going through that, it just really hit me. It was really deep because again, I thought, how could a man, not only how could a human, but how could a man do so many harsh things to a female? How could a man degrade a woman to the point she literally no longer recognizes herself when she looks in the mirror? And I thought, if I'm the one thinking this and feeling this, how many other women are out here that are going through the same thing every single day? How many women can no longer get up and truly live their life or take a compliment or feel safe or feel, happy or excited because someone literally took their identity? And I know a lot of people think that it's not even possible for somebody to do that, to take your identity or to take yourself from you, but it is a real thing. It completely changes you completely. And I'm nowhere near the person that I was before that happened to me. I am a whole different individual. And although, yes, I think being renewed is a good thing, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think there's a piece of you that still always wonders, just what parts of me did I lose? Because you literally forget. You don't remember who you truly were before then. I mean, let's say you were the best person ever, or a good person, or kind hearted. A piece of that got lost. And even though you may not be completely disheartened at this point, there's still a piece of that is not there that was there before. You're not showing up like you did before. You're showing up a whole different way now. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm that way, but I'm so much more careful now with who I let in, who I talk to. There's still a guard up, and I don't like that, because I have a feeling that was definitely not me before this, but it's become who I am now.
The guard is for safety.
Yes.
It's not because we want the guard up, right? It's safety.
Yes.
Until we feel safe, and it will take time. Many women struggle to believe their story is worth sharing. What do you tell them when fear or shame tries to silence their voice?
I tell them that it's their story. It's their timing. It's not anyone else's. And they tell it when they're ready, and they tell it how they want to tell it. Some people, they may want to make it into a fairy tale, but with actual details. Some people may want to just blurt out the full truth and be like, hey, this is me. This is what happened. This is how it happened. Some people may want to kind of break it down into little bits, or maybe put it in poetry, which is what I did. Most of my story is in a poem, or is in poems. It's hard to say when somebody has been traumatized, and not just from abuse. I mean, there are a lot of different ways you can be traumatized. And so I think, again, everybody handles trauma differently, right? So everybody's going to tell their story differently. Everybody is going to have that moment when they're ready to tell that story, and they're going to have that moment when they're not so ready to tell the story. So I tell people, just don't put too much thought in it. Take your time, listen to your heart. And when your heart tells you that you're ready to write, then that's when you tell your story. And your heart will tell you exactly how to tell that story when the time comes.
Well, Ciara, you've mentioned your poetry, and I did my homework, and I know that you have written poetry. That's how you started your writing journey, was with poetry, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
How young were you?
I was probably 12 or 13 when I first started writing poetry.
And what did the poetry do for you?
It opened up a whole new world. I feel like it took me on adventures, like literally just put me in a fairyland, like a magical land of my own, to where I was creating what was happening. I was safe. I made up the characters or whatever was going on, and nobody could take that from me. No one could take, even if someone would have came and ripped up that piece of paper, it still lived within here because it was my story, right? And that's what I try to tell people. It's always going to be yours no matter what. No one is ever going to be able to take your story from you, ever. I don't care if they take it and they try to twist it, or they burn it, or it's still your story. And it's still going home with you when you go. So that is definitely, how it sparked for me was, when I started getting these downloads, I'm going to call them, to write, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I could feel a major shift happening within inside of me. I could feel the relief and the happiness and just the emotions completely like sliding down my body, like just like it was just being washed away. And I felt good. I was happy. And I think what done it for me the most was I didn't have to tell anybody. I didn't have to actually talk to anybody until I was ready. I was able to write whatever I wanted. And I was able to hold on to that till however long I wanted, until I was ready to release it. And so that's what helped me to be able to do that, and knowing that it was secure.
So, Ciara, did you get your writing roots from your grandma?
Yes. Yes,
you see how I did that, guys? I found that I got my writing skills also from my grandma, because she would tell me, just jot it down, just jot
yes.
it down.
Yes.
And the magical land, when you mention a magical land, it's that safety land for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just never know who's in that magical land. And sometimes we make up characters that don't make any sense, but they make sense to us,
Yes.
to keep us safe, right?
Yes.
I am so glad that I am not the only one that went to the magical land. And I think a lot of us survivors have gone into our own magical land in order to get over that trauma and that as well. I
Yes.
want to talk to you about the writing roots. What does writing roots mean to you?
I think it means the story inside you. Yeah, I think it means the true fire, the true challenges, trauma, all of it that is burning deep within your soul that is ready to come out. It's just waiting for you to put it out there. That's what writing roots means to me.
And what's your favorite writing style, Ciara?
Poetry. I love to write poetry. Yes, I love
All
to
the
write poetry.
listeners should know that. They're all yelling at the screen. Poetry, poetry.
Yes, I love it.
I like to switch it up, guys. I like to get a little humor in here so that we can lighten it up because we do talk about heavy stuff sometimes on tea time, and my listeners, I want them to also enjoy, you know, and know that we can still laugh and we can still have fun. Um, when I asked you to give me a word to describe yourselves here, you gave me the word go getter. Why go getter?
I've just always been that way. If I want something or I see something, and I'm going to do whatever I can in my power to go get it. Um, Again, I guess that's what I'm talking about when I say rise up. It's a choice. You have to want to get up. You have to be ready to get up. You have to find the reason. If you feel like there's no reason, you have to find the reason as to why you have to get up. And so, for me, from the time I've been young, I have not stopped at what I wanted to get. And do I get it all the time? No, maybe not, because that's life. We're not supposed to. But does it mean that I'm not going to try to go get it? No, I'm going after it. So
He's a go getter.
yes, yes. So that's
I
definitely
love that word because it's a happy word.
it
You
is.
know, go getter. Like let's come on, come and get me. Like,
Yes,
and that's kind of like a battle song, right? Go getter.
yes.
Like, as a survivor, I think that's empowering. That word go getter is really strong, Ciara. Um, your mantra is be you, be bold, be fierce, be fearless, be unstoppable. Has inspired so many. What does each word mean to you personally after everything you've walked through?
Whew, that's a powerful one.
I got some listeners that are really digging deep.
Yeah. So the be bold. Of course, that means stand your ground, right? You don't let anything come between you, and even when it tries to knock you down, you fight back, and you're going to fall down sometimes. You are. I don't care if you're the boldest, fiercest person in the world. You're going to fall down because we are human. Um, but when you're bold, you bounce back. You get back up. The be you, be yourself, be authentic. There are so many people out here trying to be and live a whole life that is not who they truly are. And they may think they're happy or it may look like they're happy, but truly they are hurting so bad on the inside. They are either scared, they're hurt, they're sad, they're traumatized, something. And they think that by doing that, it's covering up all that pain and trauma and it's helping them, but it's only truly making things worse. Um, Another reason I tell people to be authentic too and to be you is because when people see you, you want them to be able to recognize you no matter what, right? So, like, if I cut off all my hair today and I took off or I put makeup on or whatever, I want people to still be able to say, hey, that's Ciara. Hey, that's the lady that owns Fierce and Fearless magazine. I don't want to, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with makeup, or I'm not
Yep.
saying that. I'm just saying that I think that, especially as females, which is why it saddens me a lot, because I feel like society has made us feel we're not enough. And I think that's how we've gotten into all this aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that it is truly okay to be your true authentic self. I'll have to tell you that with 2025, I've told myself I don't care anymore. Um, I sometimes will get on calls exactly how I'm feeling that day, and I will apologize. I will tell somebody that, hey, today is life, and I'm sorry, and we can either still do business or, if we need to reschedule, that's fine. But I think in 2025, I think most of us are feeling that way, right?
Yep.
And it's okay to do that. It's okay to be honest. To be fearless, again, that just means that no matter what is coming your way, you embrace it. And again, I'm not saying that there's still not going to be a slight little bit of like, oh my goodness. But the point is you don't run from it, right? You don't back down. You embrace it. And even if you get told no, even if you fall down, even if it doesn't go your way, the point is you still stood the test, and now you're going to be ready for the next test and the next test. So that's what that means to me. And that's the reason why it's, a part of my statement, because that's what I truly believe. That's what I stand behind. And that's what I base this magazine on.
And I think in 2025, it's time for us to be ourselves.
Yes, 100.
Society, systems, communities have told us that we have to look a certain way, we have to be a certain size. Just be you, be yourself. Like, we even had this conversation before we went live tonight. Like, you asked me and I said, whatever makes you comfortable.
Yes.
If we do pajamas and tea, we do pajamas and tea. I'm the same way. I show up as I am. And if I have makeup on one day, it's because I want to make myself feel good. I'm not doing it for anybody else to give me that compliment and saying, "Oh, you look good." I wanted to make myself look good. It
Yes.
had nothing to do with anybody else. And that was part of my therapy, was just doing it for myself over the years, because we used to put the makeup on to cover the bruises.
Right.
So why not put the makeup on to make ourselves feel better?
Yes. And, I think that is one thing that may help me make my decision about not wearing makeup. So like now I just wear eyeliner, and there's a long story as to why I do that, but I literally look like I have no eyelashes if I don't wear my eyeliner, because they're very thin. But yeah, I think that that's one reason why I stopped wearing the makeup, because just like you said, when I was being abused, that was the go-to. You had to put the makeup on, right? You had to feel like you had to cover up. You had to become something and someone else.
Yep.
And I told myself, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm ready to be me, and I'm ready to be the new me, and I want people to see and understand that. And either they're gonna love me for who I am and accept me, or they're not. And I'm okay with that now.
Yeah. And I'm not knocking anybody that wears makeup down one tea time. I'm just saying that so much effort is put into makeup to cover ourselves up that we wouldn't recognize it. And like you said, Ciara, like, I want to be able to recognize you if I see you on the street and you have short hair or long hair, no hair. You know what I want to, that's Ciara Lewis. Like, I know that woman,
Yes.
start knowing ourselves for ourselves. And I think we really need to bring that to the table. And I think that's what your magazine is doing, is bringing that to the table, just show up and be yourself. I want to talk about publisher and visionary. How do you choose stories that represent both the fierce and the fearless side of women?
Well, I think the beauty behind this whole mission is, I think the magazine just says itself, right? I think it sells itself without any further. And I think so many people are already doing that and wanting to be a part of that, that it's coming natural as to what they want to say, right? And how they want to approach it. And so a lot of the women that come already into the magazine and to tell their story, I mean, there's no way it's not a fit. And like I said, at this point, we've all been traumatized. In some way, shape, or form, we've all been done wrong. We've all been not seen or not heard. And so to me, how can you choose one woman against another? How can you choose one story against another? So, my magazine is not a magazine to where we choose stories, because to me, everyone's story is important. Everyone deserves to have that voice. And that's the reason I created it. So we don't choose stories. Each story is powerful. Each woman is powerful. They're beautiful. They are bold. And to me, they're bold and beyond fearless, because they have chose to participate and tell their story. And that's what we want. We want to keep them coming, because the more they do it, the more we're going to bring other women out to do so, right? When we stand up and we say, hey, I've been through this, I've done that, you don't have to be ashamed. Somebody else is going to be like, you know what? I'm ready to stand up too. I've been there too.
The ripple effect. It
Yes.
takes one story to ripple that. It's like that rock in the water. It gives you that ripple.
Yes.
Because one person will hear your story and say, oh my God, that's similar to my story. Each story is unique and different, but the similarities are there. And that's what causes the ripple effect, is somebody hears somebody else's story and says, you know what, if you can do it, I can do it.
Yes.
The publishing world can be tough, especially for women telling real raw stories. How do you stay grounded, confident, and focus on your mission?
Um, it gets tough at times because, sometimes, when you talk to these women or some of the stories you read, it's just kind of like, oh, wow. Um, how did you overcome that? But again, I think in order to stay grounded, I have to not only tell myself, hey, Ciara, you're in the present. There's nothing bad going on. You're not being harmed. You're helping someone. And so I have to remember to keep that light shining regardless. And I just have to pour in what information and helpful tips that I have into that woman that has come to share their story. But yeah, it is. It gets challenging. Um, and like I said, I just feel like as women in general, everything is challenging for us. The simplest thing is challenging for us. Um, so yeah, it's a challenge a lot of days.
So, Ciara, I see something here about Men of Impact Spotlight. Do you spotlight men as
Yes,
well?
yes, yes. We actually just started that in November. Um, some people may not understand why. Some people may frown on that, especially since the mission had started out to elevate women. But I truly think and feel that it's time for us to all reunite like we're supposed to, work together and stop all this hatred and division and negativity between one another. And I'll be truthful to you, I have had so many men wanting to know about this mission and wanting to support it that I thought, okay, maybe I made the wrong choice by making it seem like I was singling somebody out when that's not what my intention was. But I've had men say, "Oh, I'll wear that merchandise," or "Well, I want to know about that." So I was like, you know what? Let's just create them a section. They have stories too. They want to be heard too. Because men hurt too. Men have been traumatized too, just as well as women.
Yep.
And I know that, we're so quick to want to say they drive us crazy or they do this or they do that. But at the same time, I don't think that we were ever put, I don't think society ever truly set us up to truly understand the gender difference between one another. And I
Yep.
think that's why there's such a barrier between men and women, is because we don't truly understand how each other communicate or think or react. And if we could just maybe sit down and try to, work on that, oh my goodness, we could do a whole
And
lot.
there's
And there are
some,
men out there that
right? And there's some
oh,
amazing
you
men
could,
out there.
yes, yes.
I think there's an echo in my chamber room. We talk about men, and then all of a sudden the paranormals come in here and they start saying, "Well, we're talking about men." Yes, we talk about men
I
on
love
tea
it.
time. Technology has its way of always throwing its humor in there. We have our challenges with it, and it's just like life, right? Uh, we have to just keep pushing through it. We just have to get through those hard moments. Ciara, I want to thank you for spotlighting men, because there are incredible men out there that are being pushed to the side because of the bad men, just like
Yes,
women are being pushed aside because of the bad women. you know so we have to bring it back together. We have to unite. um and I think that Fear and Fearless magazine is doing that, and they're going to bring people together and have those stories, and maybe even have couples come together and share their stories of healing and going through
yes.
those stories. Is that something you're looking forward to doing in the future, is having couple stories in?
Yes, more so because, again, after the abuse, I really struggled with relationships. And like I said, I feel like society as a whole, we have always struggled with that anyways, because we've never truly understood each other. So yes, I definitely want to go down that rabbit hole, shall I say, at some
She's
point in
my
the
girl.
future.
Rabbit hole, I love it.
Um, yes, I definitely want to do that in the future because I think that it'll be not only interesting, but I think it'll be very helpful especially for a lot of people who have had issues or trauma in a relationship or either prior to a relationship. And how are you getting through that? How are you now working in the relationship you're in now? Because I'll tell you, even the relationship I'm in right now, whew, love his heart. Love his heart. Because I wear his head out.
But you should listen to Cher's Tea Time, where she said she was ready to divorce him and she ended up getting knocked up because of hormones, right? Us women, we have our moments.
We do have a yes, we do. Yes. But it is. It's totally different when you've been through abuse. It's hard, and it's something that never truly goes away. I mean, you will continue healing until you're literally no longer here. You're never going to truly heal all the way. There's always going to be a trigger, a reminder of this, of that, and it's all about just figuring out how to deal with that trigger, how to ground yourself, tell yourself, hey, I'm safe. This is not that old situation. This is not that old person. That's what I had to do, and I still have to do it sometimes. So yeah, I'm definitely looking at going that route here very, very soon. I'm also actually going to be adding in a column called Let's Talk About It, to where we actually start talking about conversations that most people don't like talking about, because I think it's time we do that. I think it's time that, we start bringing the truth to the table, and we start uncovering things that we've been trying to cover up for a long time because nobody's wanting to deal with it.
Well, the truth hurts. I did that show a couple of years ago, and the truth hurts. People do not want to hear the truth. They'll come at you, Ciara, I'm telling you. But you know what? The truth will get a difference. It will make a difference, because we have to take those Band-Aids off in order to heal.
Yes.
If we just keep putting Band-Aids on, we're not healing ourselves, right? So we got to get that truth out there. We got to have those talks. Let me know when you get that. Let's talk about it, because I think there's time to talk about a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I like a little heated fire and a little discussion sometimes too. Ciara, I want to get in. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's healthy for us. I mean, we may not like to admit it, but I do think it's healthy for us. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? It's a light in the dark. We need balance. So we need truth over lies. Enough of the lies. We need the truth.
Yes.
Ciara, I want to get into the anthology book that you're doing. You have a call out on the website for the Fear and Fearless Phoenix, Rising from the Ashes. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So that book is set to release in December, on the 13th. And we actually managed to have 12 co-authors in there. Whew, those stories they're on fire. I'm just here to tell you, they are very powerful stories. But the mission behind why I created this book was, I think so often we look at each other and we're like, oh, look at that nice car she's driving. Oh, she lives in a mansion. Did you see that dress she had on? We're too busy focusing on the materialistic things and what everybody else is doing and wearing and who they are, rather than understanding who we are and understanding what they had to go through to get those things that they have. Everything that glistens is not glitter or gold. And I think it's time that, again, we see that and we understand it. And I think that bringing out the true stories of who we once were as women and how we got to where we are now can show that aspect of, hey, I may have this, but this is not where I was. Like, this is not who I've always been. I had to go through A, B, C, D to get here now. So yeah, that's kind of the goal behind the Fierce and Fearless Phoenix was, not only showing how we rose again, but who we were in the flame. How did we, get to where we are before we rose out of the flame? Because it wasn't fun. And even though we may have golden wings now, we didn't get them just to have them. Like, we went through some stuff. Yeah.
So, Ciara, what does the Phoenix represent for you?
Strength. Freedom, fearless. It's something that will conquer each and every time. It will rise again and again and again.
It wasn't ready to lay down.
Yep.
Well, Ciara, I want to get into some lightning bolt questions here that we had that came in for you. So that I just need simple answers, or we can get a little into each one. So let's start. But I want to get into, because the first round question was royal blue or royal purple feels like, and your favorite colors are those two colors. So what do they feel like?
Like a queen, like boldness. They make me feel fierce. I don't know any other way to say it, but yeah, like a queen. I feel like when I wear those two colors, or I'm working with those two colors, I feel like it is something that is just powerful. It's, there's just no way around it. You see it and you're like, oh wow, that means something.
Well, and they're nice dark strength colors, right? When you
Yeah.
gave me those colors, I was like, oh, I like those colors. I like when people give me an actual color, like a name to the color, not just blue, yellow, pink, but actual royal blue, royal purple. You're telling
Hmm.
me that you want to go deeper into the color,
Yes.
and colors tell us a lot about a person.
Yes.
It the expression. So do you wear those colors a lot, Sarah?
I do. I love them. I actually just got me a pair of royal purple pants with some gold buttons, and they're my absolute favorite. When I seen them, I was like, I have to have that. Like, that's pure royalty right there, and powerful, right? So,
Yeah.
of course,
One word that fuels your passion.
I'm going to say love.
Oh,
Hmm. I'm
I
going to
will.
say love. Um, Love has always been hard for me to say or even come around to until probably these last couple of years. And when I truly, truly understood that that's what it takes to survive, that's what it takes to help someone else, love is powerful. And so my passion is love.
I was expecting an F word. You surprised me there, girl. She's gonna give me fearless or fears, but you keep me on my toes too. Um, a quote that defines your life right now.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
A quote that defines your life right now.
Oh, goodness. I'm not sure if I have one off the top of my head, which I like so many.
You're a poet.
I'm not sure if I have.
You're a poet. Come on, girl. You can come up with something.
Um, I really don't know. I know I like a lot of the quotes that Pooh Bear says.
Oh,
I can't remember that one exactly that he says, but pretty much at the end, it's basically like, don't let life knock you down. Like, the honey is always going to be there, but you may not always be able to reach it. Like, it may not be always easily accessible, but don't let it knock you down. Um, it's Life is just crazy, and I think there's too many aspects around everything to truly say what it is that I resonate with, especially now where I'm at in life. But yeah, I definitely, yeah, I don't have one in specific that I could say, but I do like a lot of the Pooh Bear quotes.
I'm gonna have to look up some Pooh Bear quotes, and then I'll be like, there we go. Um, your favorite part of publishing?
Writing,
Oh,
writing, and reading the stories. I love to read the stories that come in. And like I said, prior to the stories, I've already had a background conversation with most of these women. And so once they actually put their story on paper, it's 10 times more powerful than it was when they, told it to me over the phone. So yeah, definitely. I'm going to say the reading over the writing at this point, because I'm in a different position now to where I don't really do so much of the writing anymore. I let other people do the writing, and I just make it into something nice. I put it out there for everybody else, so that they can get the spotlight. But the reading the story is what does it for me.
And Ciara, what's the hardest story you've ever told?
The hardest story I've ever told, or the hardest story I've been told
That you've told?
about my abuse. Finally coming out and actually admitting about the abuse and the situation was probably the hardest thing that I've ever truthfully done in my life.
Why was that the hardest?
Because I think that's something that we want to try to hide, and we do try to hide it for the longest. I think it's something that we're ashamed of, we're scared of, we don't know how to handle it or tell anybody. And so, when we finally get ready to let that band-aid rip and put it out there, it takes a lot. It does. And I think that it also kind of takes you back a little bit, to when the situation happened. And so I think sometimes it's hard to even tell the story or even write the story because it re-triggers some of the things, right? So yeah, that's the reason why that was the hardest for me.
Yeah, the re-traumatization sometimes is even worse than the actual event.
Yes.
Uh, I had cold sweats when I was writing on paper, and I was like, I'm in a safe place. Why am I freaking out? But it was the re-triggering of that moment and having that feeling again and that fear again, right?
Yes. I mean, because it's almost like it physically puts you back there. Like it's insane how that happens and how the mind works, but it's literally almost like it literally puts you back there, like it's happening all over again. So yeah, that was hard.
A woman who embodies fearless to you.
Um, I would say my grandma, truthfully. Yeah, I would say
I
my
was
grandma.
waiting. I was waiting for grandma.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything scared that woman. I really and truthfully don't. I mean, when my mom had moved out, she wanted to stay in the house by herself, and it was a big house. And we're like, you don't need to stay in here by yourself. But she was determined to stay in that house with, and I'm like, okay, no, she had no fear, and she'd be in there with all the lights out. So, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna say my grandma because she just rolled with whatever.
Well, at the beginning of the tea time, right, we got into grandma, and grandma comes back at the end. It's a full circle, right? The strength comes from grandma. Grandma
Yes,
gave us the strength to get back up. I mean, don't lay down, right? Uh,
right.
did you ever hear that from your grandma? Don't lay
Yeah,
down.
yeah. She was one that always told me, "You keep on keeping on, and you don't stop." And so I think that's where I got that from. Is I don't stop. I just keep doing what I have to, even though when it's tough, you just keep doing it, no matter how tough it gets.
A song that gets you in the go getter mood.
Um. Oh, what is that song called? I think it's called "Rise Up." Maybe. I can't think of what her name is that
From
sings it, but I don't know why. But
Rihanna.
that song, it just, huh?
Is it Rihanna that sings that one?
It might be. It might be Rihanna that sings that. But I think that song is just so powerful, and it just gets me in the mood every time. Like I just sometimes I'm like, let me just turn that on so I can actually get into what I need to do to get me going. I just love it.
Yeah, I think it's Rihanna. If it's not Rihanna, it's a gospel singer that sings it. Yeah,
Yeah, I wish I could
that's
think
a
of.
good one.
Yeah, I like that one.
The biggest myth about empowerment.
Mm, I'm not sure. I've never. I don't think. I don't think there is a myth about empowerment. I think that empowerment is, you're just going after it. You're rising above the challenge. You're doing it. You're just doing it. You're showing up. You are um, going above and beyond, and not only that, but you're helping others. You're pushing as you're going. So I don't really know if there truly is a myth behind empowerment. Not one that I've heard anyways that I could think of off the top of my head, but that's just where I'm at. I don't know. Maybe there is.
Finish this. Being fearless means
Unstoppable. Not scared. You just do it. Show up. Keep getting up.
so. Ciara, if people wanted to reach out about the magazine or to get their story featured, how could they find that, and where can they find you? And if you could just spell out the website for the audio listeners.
Okay. So our website is Fierce and Fearless Entrepreneur, and that is FIERLESS.com.
And Ciara, that book is coming out December 13th, correct?
Yes, yes, it is coming out December the 13th. And you can also reach us on social media at Fierce and Fearless Entrepreneur on Instagram and Facebook as well. And our email is fiercefearlessentrepreneur2025@gmail.com.
And Ciara, is this magazine a monthly magazine, a weekly magazine?
It's monthly.
Monthly. And
Yes.
how many stories are in this magazine every month?
Whew. I think November has probably been our biggest issue yet. So we probably feature at least between 10 to 13, if not more, stories a month. Again, we're expecting to see that grow, especially because we'll be starting 2 new magazines next year. So, yeah, between about 10 to 15.
And what else do you have coming up besides the magazine? Do you have any speaking engagements or any events that you'd like to put a shout out for?
Yes, we have our Fierce and Fearless Christmas giveaway event that is December the 19th at 7:30 Eastern time. And we have lots of things that we're going to be giving away. We had several sponsors participate. I think we had over 30 to 40 sponsors that have participated. In January, we will be starting our actual community. So we'll have that up and going by then. And then we also will be starting our TV show, Table Talk Conversations, as well in January. So we are looking for guests for that as well. And of course, we're always taking submissions for the magazine as well.
And we have a question that just came in. For the listeners that are healing and still rebuilding character, what does it mean to lead fearlessly even before you feel ready?
I can tell you that for sure because I started this as a leap. I had no clue what I was doing. I intentionally just started it with one magazine, and I didn't think that it was going to truly, transpire the way that it did. And it did. So here, before I knew it, I was going into 6 magazines. So December will make our 6-month anniversary. So when you leap, sometimes you just leap without thinking. I think it's kind of like an adrenaline thing. You want something so bad that you're like, hey, I've got to go for it. You're not really thinking about what's going to happen if I fall when I get there. You just go for it, and then you deal with what happens once you're there.
Well, Ciara, I really want to thank you for sitting and having tea with me tonight and getting your story out there. What message would you have for any of the listeners out there that are still maybe in a situation and they want to get out?
Definitely don't be afraid to speak up. Tell somebody that is close to you. There's always the hotline as well that you can call. I know a lot of people don't like to call the police, but that's how I got out. If I have to be truthful, I finally called the police. So definitely don't continue to be scared to speak up. Think when there's a safe time. Think when there's an open window. So maybe when you go to work or school, or you're somewhere out by yourself, of how you can get the attention of someone, because trust me and believe, we are out here listening. This is such a problem now that we are looking out for each other at this point. So someone is going to see you and hear you, and someone will get you help.
Well, thank you so much. I'm just going to do a closing summary of what today's tea time was, and then we'll wrap it up. And I'll see everybody tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and then Thursday at 7 p.m. and Friday at 7 p.m. There is no afternoon tea times this week, so check out the evening ones. What a powerful tea time this has been with Ciara Lewis. She reminded us that healing is not quiet, it's brave, and stepping into our purpose doesn't require permission, only truth. Ciara showed us that when a woman decides to stand in her story instead of hiding from it, she becomes a force not just for herself but for everyone watching her rise. As you reflect on today's tea time, ask yourself, where am I ready to be bolder? Where am I ready to stop surviving and start leading my own life? Thank you, Sierra, for pouring a cup of fire, fearlessness, and fierce truth today. Your voice uplifts our courage, inspires, and your mission reminds us all to rise with purpose. So thank you all, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night, same time, same place, and we'll do it all over again.